Hello again, everybody. I hope that you are all keeping well. Thank you for continuing on this journey with me as we go through the book of Joshua. And as always, you're going to need to have your Bible with you today. You're going to want to have your notebook and a pen. So I'd like you to take that pen of yours and I want you to write down what are some places or situations you would not want to be found in. All right. Now, whether or not you've actually been in this situation or been in this place, what are some places or situations you would not want to be found in? You would not want someone from your family, someone from your school, someone from your church seeing you in this place. Take a minute, pause this, write down a couple of those places. You got a few down? All right. I know I've been in a few situations like that. There's some places that just logically, I wouldn't want to be there, and I definitely wouldn't want to be found there. I remember hearing a story once. I was doing a mission trip, and the pastor who was with us told us about this one time when he was in the city of Montreal, which is in eastern Canada. He had been preaching a series about youth empowerment and trying to get young people to feel motivated and able to, get involved in church, get involved in their community, make a meaningful difference. And then he's on his way back after this powerful time. He's been connecting with all these different young people, and he's stuck in traffic. And in this gridlocked traffic, it's basically a parking lot out there. He's just looking around, whatever, and he locks eyes with this young lady who's on the side of the road. He notices that this girl is waving at him, and he thinks, oh, maybe this is one of the people from the program I was just at. There were hundreds of people there. So he waves back. And much to his chagrin, she starts walking towards him. And when she starts walking towards him, he's like, oh, okay, maybe she needs a lift somewhere, because maybe she recognizes me as the pastor who came to speak and she needs a lift. So she gets into the car and he's like, oh, hey, hello, how you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm good. He says something to the effect of, so where are we going? And she says, well, it's up to you. You're the one who's looking for a good time. And he's like, whoa, no, I'm not. Then why'd you wave me over? He's like, oh, I thought I recognized you. He's like, well, okay, we're here. Are you looking for a good time? And he says, oh, see, I'm a pastor. She says, well, that's okay. And he's like, oh, but I'm married too. And she's like, that's okay too. And he told us that, he was just thinking, man, it would be so terrible if someone saw me right now. Because how you explain that? Any explanation you're going to give is going to sound like every explanation everybody gives when they get booked in that situation. But, he was just hoping, he was just praying, let nobody find me. Have you ever been in a situation where you're like, I hope nobody finds me in this place or in this situation? There's some places we realize, I don't have any business here, or this is just not a good look. Joshua chapter 2, he's just about to cross over Jordan, bring the whole nation of Israel over, and what he does is he sends 2 spies across, and they are sent to go and survey the land. And as they go in, word starts to spread that Israel is back now and that they've sent some spies, and so they start hunting these spies, and these guys are on the run. And the one person who will take them in happens to be a prostitute. You may have heard her name. Her name is Rahab. She takes them in. Now, I can imagine they're thinking, man, look, I can't end up in this place. Nobody can find me in this place. But the alternative for them is death. So they go in and Rahab hides them on her roof. Word has spread that the 2 men were seen going into Rahab's house. So the king sends word to say, hey, I heard that you had some customers today who were interested. So Rahab takes these men in and protects them, which, by the way, is great personal risk, because if they're found in her place that she was hiding them, there's not too many ways that story ends. But here's what she says. Joshua chapter 2, we're going to read from verses 8 to 14. Before the spies lay down for the night, she went up on the roof and said to them, I know that the Lord has given this land to you, and that a great fear has fallen on us. so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. We have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the two kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, whom you completely destroyed. When we heard it, our hearts melted in fear, and everyone's courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on earth below. Now then, please swear to me by the Lord that you will show kindness to my family, because I have shown kindness to you. Give me a sure sign that you will spare the lives of my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, that you will save us from death. And the spies replied, our lives for your lives, the men assured her. If you don't tell what we are doing, we will treat you kindly and faithfully when the Lord gives us this land. Rahab then lets them out, helps them to sneak out, and they get back to camp. So here's what's awesome about this. When you read verses 8 to 11, you read a powerful testimony of God, who he is, what he has done, his awesome power, and you see somebody who wants to be a part of that story. And this is not found in a temple or in, a marketplace. This is found in the house of a prostitute. Now think about this really carefully, right? Not only is she not an Israelite, so she's not one who is full on a true worshiper of God. She's a prostitute. But in her house, what they find there is not a Canaanite woman, is not a prostitute. They find somebody who is looking for a relationship with God. Sometimes we end up in places and situations we don't want to be in. My point is this: sometimes in the people we think least likely to want to know more about God, we find people who are looking for God. You have that cousin who wants nothing to do with church. You have that auntie who has become an atheist. We have that person who we think nothing positive is going to come out of this situation. And sometimes God is like, actually, this is right where I want you to be. Actually, this is right where I need you to be, because I have a child who is looking for hope. I want you to take your pen, and I want you to write about a time that you had a conversation that thoroughly surprised you. It could be in any way. It could be that it was far deeper, or you could have realized that you had more in common with this person than you think. And we often don't realize how it is that somebody is going to respond to us until we actually take a chance to reach out. So if you got that time that a conversation has really surprised you, it could have been more deep, it could have been you realized you were more in common than you thought, but a time that a conversation has really surprised you. So I want you to take a minute now, grab that pen of yours, and make another list. Who are the people in your life that you reckon could use Jesus, but in your mind, in your understanding of them, they want nothing to do with it? It's funny how often we just sort of make the assumption, we go to work, and because someone is a certain way or talks a certain way or does something, we say, they probably wouldn't want to know about God. They probably wouldn't want to know about, they probably wouldn't want to talk about religion or anything like that. I think you'd be surprised how many hearts are searching, right? You may have that classmate who says, who is like the most, you may have that classmate who is the most irreverent, and they cuss every other word, they want nothing to do with school, this and that. But then if you are open to listening to the voice of God, you may find something that you didn't expect to find. So easy for us to write people off. Have you made that list? I know everybody's got that list. We think, man, this person could use some help, but they don't want to hear about God. They don't want to hear about Jesus. Have you got that list? This is an important list, because what you're going to do is you're going to start praying for these people on a regular. You're going to start praying for them regularly, and I want you to ask God specifically, who on this list do you need me to connect with in a different way than we've been connecting before? Ask God, hey, is there someone here that I need to reach out to? Is there someone here that you want me to reach out to? See, God places you in a place because you can do something. He places you somewhere. He places people in your life because you can make a difference. You can introduce them to him. You can start that conversation. You can start that line of thinking that leads them to the place that they're ready to have an encounter with God. You know, the thing is, this doesn't only have to be people who are on the outside, outskirts. A lot of times, the fact is, we think these things about people that are very close to us. It could be your very best friend, but because of the way they live, we say, you know what? Let me not make trouble by talking about God or introducing God to them. It could be, you know, your teammate. It could be, in some people's cases, it's their spouse. It's their boyfriend or girlfriend. And they just don't want to make, and we just don't want to make trouble. We don't want to rock the boat. But the fact is, Jesus put you in that boat so it could be rocked. In fact, a lot of the times He's put you in that boat because there's someone in that boat that wants it rocked, but just doesn't know how to rock it. So are you going to be the one to rock the boat? Are you willing to be that person? I'm going to pray for you now, and I'm going to ask that God will grant you the heart that cares enough to pray for these people, but then also the heart that is courageous enough. That's the theme of Joshua. Be strong and of good courage. The heart that is courageous enough to step out in faith as God points us in the direction of someone who needs an encounter with Him. Let's pray. Father in heaven, thank you so much for your many blessings, and thank you for having been with us, Lord. I pray that as we move forward in life, let us not write anybody off because of who they are, what their job is, how they speak, whatever it might be. If these two men had said, you know what, we're not going to Rahab's house because she's a prostitute, not only would they have missed out on the opportunity to get out of the city alive, I think the biggest thing is that they would have missed out on a heart that was seeking you. And so I pray that as we move forward, you would give us hearts that are courageous enough to ask you to point us in that direction. And I say courageous enough because when we ask those prayers, Lord, you answer. And when you answer, it puts us in that position where we have to make the decision of were we serious or not. So I pray that each one here would open their hearts to your direction, would open their hearts to your lead. Be with us and keep us till we meet again. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen. Thanks, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that that you're challenged to make that connection and rock somebody's boat. Have an awesome day.